Welcome to the Gay Buddhist Forum, where teachers from all schools of Buddhism offer their perspectives on the Dharma and its application in modern times, especially for LGBTQI audiences. These talks are offered freely to the world and made possible by appreciative listeners. If you would like to support our efforts to share the Dharma with underserved audiences, please visit gaybuddhist.org. There you can donate, find a list of upcoming speakers, or enjoy many hundreds of these recorded talks dating back to 1996.
Okay, well, here we are. Welcome again. Happy solstice again. At this point, we like to introduce ourselves. My name is Henry.
Alex.
Luis.
Steve.
Dennis.
Ian.
Steve.
Ernie.
I'm Brad.
Tom.
Jack.
I'm Richard.
Steph.
Neil.
Thank you. And online we have Robert, George, Tony, Jeff, Francis, Christian, Jeffrey, Steve, Joe, Jeff, another Jeff, Don, Briscoe Wolf, and Gibbs. So, welcome all. Now I get to introduce our speaker. Piece of paper. David Lewis, a longtime member of this Sangha, has been following the Dharma path for 50 years, a long time. He has a degree in comparative religious studies and is a graduate of Spirit Rock Meditation Center's Advanced Practitioners Program. David shares the Dharma at several sadhas, including Mission Dharma, Insight Upper Market, and this place, the Gay Buddhist Fellowship of San Francisco. David.
Thank you, Henry. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone online. Happy winter solstice. Very happy to be here, as always. I apologize for the music stand that's kind of half blocking me, but my memory's not what it used to be, so I read more than I used to, or refer to notes. And my eyesight's not what it used to be, and my hearing's not what it used to be, but that's what's supposed to happen when you get old. So it's okay. So here we are, in the middle of the holidays. The word holidays, of course, you probably know, comes from holy days. We're special days of observance from various spiritual traditions, most of which can be traced back to our pagan ancestors of many lands. And even when holidays are not of Buddhist origin, and most of them aren't, they often mirror dharmic values and practices. Thanksgiving, representing gratitude. Christmas, representing peace, joy, generosity. New Year's, representing both letting go and intentionality. Hanukkah, Festival of Light. For the solstice. It's natural, as in derived from nature, that so many of our holy days, including Christmas, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, are clustered around the time of the winter solstice, the shortest day of the year, which must have been a universally celebrated event to our ancestors who organized their lives around the seasons, around the changing seasons. So I'd like to start off as kind of a treat for you and me with a poem by Patricia Fargnoli that brings us into winter. And for those of us in Northern California right now, as I read this, feel free to substitute the word rain for snow. It's called Winter Grace. And if you'd like to, just close your eyes and take it in. You don't have to close your eyes, but feel free. I won't think you're sleeping. Winter Grace by Patricia Fargnoli. If you have seen the snow under the lamppost, piled up like a white beaver hat on the picnic table, or somewhere slowly falling into the brook to be swallowed by water, then you have seen beauty and known for its transience. And if you've gone out in the snow for only the pleasure of walking barely protected from the galaxies, the flakes settling on your parka like dust from the just born stars, the cold waking you as if from long sleeping, then you can understand how, more often than not, truth is found in silence. How the natural world comes to you if you go out to meet it. Its icy ditches filled with dead weeds, its vacant birdhouses and dens full of the sleeping. But this is a slowed down season, held fast by darkness. And if no one comes to keep you company, then keep watch over your own solitude. In that stillness, you will learn with your whole body the significance of cold and the night, which is otherwise always eluding you. So as she says, winter solstice invites us to cultivate stillness, silence, and spaciousness. Solstice celebrates the great change, the earth tipping on its axis, the movement from darkness to light. But before we anticipate more light, we must acknowledge the darkness. This act of nature is reflected in the most fundamental teachings of the Buddha. Acknowledging dukkha, or unreliability in our lives, in the world. Acknowledging dukkha is an essential preliminary to waking up, to seeing the light. Solstice asks how we stand open-hearted in the face of darkest night. There's a passage from the poet Rilke. It's not a poem. You, darkness that I come from, I love you more than all the fires that fence in the world. For the fire makes the circle of light for everyone, and then no one outside learns of you. But the darkness pulls in everything, shapes and fires, animals and myself, and how easily it gathers them. Powers and people, and it is possible a great presence is moving near me. I have faith in nights. That was Rilke. In our tradition, in our Buddhist tradition, this is a time for turning inward, for reflection, meditation. The Pali word is vassa. Vassa is a time for practice. Vassa is the monsoon season in Southeast Asia, when the Buddha traditionally started the monastic tradition of 3-month retreats, because it was raining so much. There wasn't much else to do for 3 months. For us, it's the winter months. In many Buddhist cultures, Days of observance are called uposatha days. And like the solstice, they are determined by natural phenomena. Each phase of the moon, the full moon, the new moon, and the 2 quarter moons, each month are uposatha days in the monasteries. On these days, or roughly once a week, lay practitioners make offerings to monasteries and observe the precepts. The monastics themselves sit up all night meditating, their practice guided by the lunar calendar. A weekly holy day or holiday, to the best of my knowledge, is universal in all the major spiritual traditions. In the Judeo-Christian traditions, this day is called the Sabbath. How different traditions practice the Sabbath is remarkably similar. It's a day of rest, of reflection, of fasting, meditation, prayer. The Sabbath tradition has largely fallen out of favor in our busy materialist world of consumer culture. But there appears to be some movement towards reviving it, with the acknowledgement that mental health needs space too. Some people set an intention to avoid screens, newspapers, and social media accounts 1 day a week, a modern take on fasting. Buddhists have been at the forefront of this movement, and we have always advocated retreat and another kind of refuge, which is meditating once or twice a day. This is from Maya Angelou, who said, "Every person needs to take 1 day away, a day in which one consciously separates the past from the future. Jobs, family, employers, and friends can exist 1 day without any one of us. And if our egos permit us to confess, they could exist eternally in our absence. Each person deserves a day away in which no problems are confronted, no solutions searched for. Each of us needs to withdraw from the cares from which will not withdraw from us." So I love that last line. Each of us needs to withdraw from the cares which will not withdraw from us. Because that's what we do in mindfulness practice, isn't it? We acknowledge and then we relax our struggle with our habitual cares and those of the world for the sake of cultivating peaceful hearts and minds. As Angelou points out, those cares don't withdraw from us. We're not just sticking our heads in the sand, but rather we're cultivating peace of mind in the face of so much turmoil and stress. Stress, the word stress, being another common definition of dukkha. Dukkha can be stress, dukkha can be suffering, dukkha can simply be unreliability. So peace does not mean creating a place where there's no noise, or trouble, or hard work. It's about being in the midst of all those things and still remaining calm in your heart. As the Buddhist poet Gary Snyder reminds us, meditation is not just a rest or retreat from the turmoil of the stream or the impurity of the world. It's a way of being the stream. so that one can be at home in both the white water and the eddies. That's an excellent definition of equanimity, I think. If we look at the great pacifists and social justice leaders of the last century, such as Mahatma Gandhi, Mother Teresa, Venerable Ghasananda, Martin Luther King, they were all inspired and supported by strong spiritual practices. They embodied peace and equanimity, which sustained their work. Peace on earth starts with peace in the heart. Nisargadatta said, "The world is the way it is because people are the way they are. As long as people are the way they are, the world will continue to be the way it is. If we want to have a peaceful world, it's necessary to have peaceful people. Peace is not something that can be imposed on the world." So I believe that there's no more important action we can take to make the world a better place than to start by cultivating peace of mind ourselves. Peace of mind, perhaps also generosity and gratitude, all of which were strongly advocated by the Buddha. And to gather in sanghas like this to support and be supported by our spiritual friends. Very important to the practice. I have a friend, a fellow Dharma teacher that I was talking to a couple of weeks ago, and he said, and I've heard him say this before, he said, "You can't do it yourself." And he was talking about Buddhist practice, meditation practice. He said, "You can't do it yourself." He said, "You have to have a sangha." So if anybody has ideas about that, pro or con, you agree with it or not, but save it for afterwards. I'd be interested in hearing. It must be from a loving heart and a peaceful mind that we go forth to do our chosen work in the world, whatever that might be. And taking action, of course, starts with an acceptance of the way things are. So if you're of a mindset to set an intention for the next year, I would recommend cultivating peace of mind. Just a suggestion. In whatever way that works for you. Which is a good question. So what does peace look like? How do we go about cultivating it? The Venerable Ajahn Chah, a great monastic teacher of the mid-20th century, said that this is deep Dharma. Looking for peace is like looking for a turtle with a mustache. You won't be able to find it. But when your heart is ready, peace will come looking for you. So striving to impose peace on your mind, on your behavior, on the world, can feel like spinning our tires. Peace of mind comes from mindfully resting in the here and now with a relaxed attitude of acceptance. Just what we teach in meditation practice. A relaxed attitude of acceptance of whatever arises in our experience. So for those of you that might be new to meditation, this might seem like a challenging practice. But that's only because you're not used to it. What we are used to is being lost in mind states of agitation and worry, which we try to muffle with distraction. So a peaceful mind might feel a little too quiet and unfamiliar. But in 2,600 years of Buddhist teachers have reminded us that peace is the natural state of our mind. Peace is the natural state of our mind. This is from the Buddha. Luminous is this mind, brightly shining, but it is colored by the attachments that visit it. This unlearned people do not really understand, and so do not cultivate the mind. Luminous is this mind, brightly shining, when it is free of attachments that visit it. This, the noble follower of the way, really understands. So for them, there is cultivation of the mind. So that's what we're recommending, cultivation of the mind. That's what the silent meditation that we did this morning was, cultivation of the mind. So try it at home. I recommend it. Jetsumna Tenzin Palmo adds that the nature of the mind has no problems. It's the only place in samsara which has no problems. It's our natural, real island of refuge. And this is why we are trying to experience the nature of the mind, because this is the only place where we'll find security. I was talking to a Dharma friend about the nature of peace, and I asked what he thought the opposite of peace was, and he responded, attachment, which agrees with that quote from Jetsumna Tenzin Palmo. I might have guessed, I would have said agitation or distraction, but they're really the same thing, and they're not in contradiction. They're both accurate. So if so, the formula for cultivating peace of mind is to let go of attachment and avoid distraction. This practice that we do is more about letting go than getting something. You may be familiar, in fact I'm pretty sure you are because I've quoted it before, from these famous lines from Ajahn Chah, who said, if you let go a little, you will have a little peace. If you let go a lot, you will have a lot of peace. If you let go completely, you will have complete peace. And your struggles with this world will have come to an end. That quote gets used a lot in Buddhism, but very often people leave off the last line, which I think is just profound. Your struggles with this world will have come to an end. That's no small thing. Because Ajahn Chah describes peace as freedom from struggle. And that's been my experience in my years of meditation practice. When I relax and rest in awareness and let go of trying to control my experience, peace naturally arises, often followed by happiness in its wake. Peace often turns to happiness, just quite naturally. For me, it's happiness is a side effect of peace, and peace is a side effect of presence. It's not the excited kind of happiness that comes from getting something you want, but rather a peaceful contentment with the way things are. The contentment of accepting things just as they are, As Uteshaniya instructs, we must find a still point that is not dependent on anything for our happiness. This doesn't mean that we ignore our difficulties. Suffering is often the entry point to Dharma practice. Sometimes in Sangha, and I won't make you do this morning, but sometimes in Sangha, out of curiosity, we ask people, what brought you to the Dharma? And the most common answer usually is suffering in some sort. Something's out of whack. If we don't acknowledge an uncomfortable body or problematic habits of mind, we will never be able to understand or make peace with them. But I think that we sometimes emphasize suffering at the expense of the promise of freedom from it. Peace is available to you anytime. It's really much easier than you think it is. And it equates with freedom. When we talk about freedom in Buddhism, I'm not talking about enlightenment. It's something at the end of the road. It's something you experience right now in this moment. Peace is available to you anytime. But I'm also not suggesting that you should be happy. Only, as the Buddha taught, that you deserve to be happy. And that it's a wholesome state of mind to cultivate. Like peace, the contentment of simply resting in the here and now is always available to you. As I said, no matter what's going on in your life or the world. Mahaghosananda said, if we cannot be happy in spite of our difficulties, what is the good of our spiritual practice? Do you know who Mahaghosananda was? Mahaghosananda was the head of the entire Buddhist community in Cambodia during the regime of Pol Pot, when all but 100 Buddhist monks were exterminated by the regime, by military regime. And Mahaghosananda came out of that saying, if you cannot be happy in spite of your difficulties, what's the good of our spiritual practice? I just find his story very moving. So for me, another one of my practices is gratitude. It's an essential practice for me, and it just kind of comes naturally. I don't have to try very hard anymore. But we can cultivate it if it doesn't come naturally to you. It's really helpful, especially when I'm feeling overwhelmed by the slings and arrows of fortune, of modern life. Gratitude makes what we have enough. I think Aesop said that, if I'm not mistaken. Gratitude makes what we have enough. And an added benefit is that gratitude is a happiness practice, because happiness arises not from getting what we want, but rather from being grateful for what we have. So Bhikkhu Analayo, Bhikkhu is a monk, Analayo is an esteemed Buddhist monk and translator, Pali into English, has said that the whole of the Buddhist path can be seen as a progressive refinement towards joy. I don't know if we say that enough in Buddhist communities. We talk about suffering a lot. But here's one of the most admired, awakened monastics that I know of. It says the whole of the Buddhist path can be seen as a progressive refinement of joy. He's not talking about some reward at the end of the path. He's talking about the gradual unfolding of peace and joy that comes with our practice, starting right now. And speaking of right now, Zen Master Dogen reminds us that life is fleeting. Don't waste a single moment of your life. Wake up now. And now. And now. I could keep going for the rest of the morning. But now just keeps happening, so you got to stop sometime. So this is my solstice wish for you, my friends, Gay Buddhist Fellowship. May you be filled with goodwill, compassion, and joy. May you rest in peace of mind and the peace and ease that is the natural peace and ease of body and mind. And may you and all sentient beings be free of needless suffering. May it be so. So, thank you for your kind attention. I can move this thing now if I don't knock over all the technology. And I'm curious what you have to say. Please.
I want to thank you for putting into words how I survived last night. I lived in an area where there was almost 12 hours of no electricity. And what do you do in the dark for that period of time? Somehow my mind found a place that I would describe using the words you used today. And so I just want to thank you. There wasn't a plan in my getting to that point, but it seemed to happen on its own. And I give credit to just all the Buddhist teachings that I've been present for here.
Well, I thought that was an incredible blessing, that power outage. Because if you think about it, our ancestors for 100,000 years sat in the dark like that. That's what we've been doing for all of human history and prehistory, is sitting in the dark. So I thought there was a great lesson in that. And especially looking at our discomfort about, wow, what do I do now with the lights off? Yeah. Somebody planned that well for solstice.
I came up with the saying for PGE, stands for Please God Electricity.
First time I've heard that one. Yeah. So thanks. Thanks for that reminder. I feel a little guilty because I didn't lose my power. I heard from a number of people who lost their power.
You have something to be grateful for.
Something to be grateful for. Anyone else? Please.
It's more of the question to you.
Sure.
You mentioned at the beginning that your sight is not as good, your hearing is not as good, and you have to read in the front of you. Sounds like a lot of limitations of old age. And I'm worried about my future, so I want to hear from you how you are experiencing your failing body and more limitations and approaching of death and inevitable collapse of the bodily function that gradually happens. Now, what's your take on it at this point?
Yeah, well, you used the word inevitable, and that's what it is. It's inevitable. My motto for myself at this time of life, especially whenever something's going wrong, my motto to myself is, well, this is what's supposed to be happening. This is the way a body starts slowing down and a mind starts getting foggy and our eyesight, and this is what's supposed to happen. So death doesn't scare me. The one thing that kind of scares me is not being able to take care of myself. That's a little scary because I live alone. But death doesn't scare me, and a failing body and a failing mind doesn't scare me, because that's just nature. And at least philosophically, I think I reflect on the fact that every human being that's ever lived has died, except for us so far. Everybody that's ever lived has died. Therefore, it's got to be a good thing. What do you think?
I am puzzled by the word. It must be a good thing. What's good about it?
It's good because it's nature. It's good. Do you like nature?
From general philosophical point of view, it's what's happening. Therefore, it has to happen.
Well, I've got another good quote from the Buddha about that. The Buddha says that everything is constantly in the process of becoming something else. Everything in creation is constantly in the process of becoming something else. So if we can accept that, that's a big part of Dharma practice, is accepting that everything's changing, everything's transforming, and that's nature. So our resistance to that is usually ego. It's an attachment to this particular self. This attachment, I want me to last forever in some way. It's also our idea of afterlife. It's also, somehow I'm going to be me for forever. But the Buddha said, there might be other lives, but you're not going to be you. You're going to be something else.
Do you have thoughts on taking that from a cognitive place to a feeling place? So cognitively, I can say to myself, everything changes, so that's just how it is. But to get from there to a place where you feel that.
Great question. Yeah. Well, meditate. Really, when we sit and notice, if we just, give up your idea of what meditation is. If we had extra time, I would do a meditation now. Give up your idea of what meditation is and making something happening and having a peaceful mind. If you just sit quietly and notice what happens in your experience when you sit quietly and notice, one of the first things you'll notice, whether you're aware of it or not, is that everything changes. Thoughts come and go like this. Bodily sensations are coming and going like that. Sounds are reaching our ears and not. It's just a constantly changing process. So if we don't attach to any of that, if we don't, latch onto a thought and start thinking about things, then you'll just notice this flow of phenomena, flow of changing phenomena, mental phenomena, physical phenomena, and that's impermanent. That's a direct experience of impermanence, and that's how you internalize it. That's how. And at some point, and everybody I know that is a Dharma practitioner that's especially been on a retreat, it's usually happened at some retreat where we've been sitting for a long time. Everybody comes to this moment of insight where they go, whoa, everything changes all the time. So that's something to look forward to. Tom, please.
Thank you so much, David. And I was just thinking, this is your 47th talk here. I looked it up. Which,
wow.
That's more talks than, that's the most number of talks given here at GBF. Tied with Jim Wilson from the olden days.
I don't remember any of them.
Yeah, we have some of them on tape.
Good.
47. But I really like what you said about peace in the world begins with peace in our own mind. And for me, coming to that peace means letting go of, recognizing, letting go of, and reducing resistance. Resistance to what is. Because I think, at least in my case, and what I observe in the world, that's the source of most, violence, and whether it's violent language or reactions or things like that. It's resistance to what is.
Yeah.
Which, the Buddha talked about, like wanting what you don't have and not wanting the bad things you get. So it's just acceptance.
Yeah. Yeah, another way of putting that is it's craving for things to be other than they are. And we spend a phenomenal amount of time wanting things to be other than they are.
Yeah.
Which includes resisting, what we don't want to be there.
Yeah. And I think the opposite of peace for me is fear. Fear of what may come, fear of losing what I have, fear of what, it's all, when I distill it down, it comes to that base emotion of fear.
Yeah, I can't dispute that. I think that fear lies underneath an awful lot of our aversive feeling. I think fear lies underneath anger. If you wonder why so many people seem to be angry in the world right now or in our country, I think it's about fear.
Thank you. And what are we afraid of?
Different for everybody. Sometimes just change. But it's different for everybody. Fear of the world not being the way we want it to be. Please.
Thank you for your talk.
Sure.
And I just, for me, what I heard from your talk was about peace, but it also feels like a tall order depending on who you are and your circumstances, because there are populations where their here now is not ideal or what they want. So because I was thinking about populations that I work with and why I'm struggling so much, and it's I want them to find peace, but if I look at their circumstances, they're less than ideal. And also the way I'm trying to communicate to them to find joy in the little things. So anyways, I think I see a lot of wisdom within that, but I also feel like it's a tall order depending on who you are. Looking at it from where I am now, sitting in front of you, I can access that, and I can, I have my fears, I have my traumas, whatever. But for other people, it's not as accessible, because I guess my question is how do you discern attachment from something that grounds you and keeps you safe? Because I think it's a two-way thing. Yes, attachment does cause suffering, but also there are things that we hold on to or whatever because they bring us comfort, they bring us a sense of where home was or things like that.
Yeah, thank you. That question comes up a lot, and it's hard to address because I wish I'd brought this book with me. I have a picture book called Material World. You know about that?
I know the song.
It's so this photographer would travel around the world to various places and various cultures, and picked out random families in Nepal, in Botswana, in Kansas, in China, and said, I got them to bring all of their personal possessions outside of their home and make a pile out in front, and then do a family portrait with their stuff. And that's what this book is. And it's the most extraordinary thing, because you'll see a family from Nepal that say, well, this is our horsehair mattress, we made it ourselves, and this is our best pot, and this is our second best pot, and these are our 2 blankets, and we're very proud of them, and we're really happy to be showing off what great stuff we have. As opposed to the suburban family in Kansas that have, 3 cars and 2 boats and a couple of televisions and just this enormous pile of stuff in the yard. And they're sitting in front of all this, looking not very happy at all. So is Elon Musk a happy, peaceful person? No. But there's a homeless guy that I talk to every morning on 24th Street when I walk my dog, who is a happy person. So it just depends. But I don't think it depends on it. It sounds like you see a lot of suffering in the world, and that's hard. But people suffer. Everybody suffers in a different way, and it's hard to generalize about it.
We have time for one further question online. Jeff, can you unmute?
First of all, thank you for coming in on short notice, David. Really appreciate that. We got a cancellation. I want to appreciate what Tom had said about the number of Dharma talks that you've shared with us over the years. You've become a core staple of our recordings. But also, I know you said it before, but suffering, dharma, dukkha is unreliability. I never heard it quite the same as today. I'm always complaining about something. It's not reliable. It's not reliable. Or someone who's not reliable. But, and this used to be Goenka's first goal in any retreat was to awaken the impermanence, unreliability of things. But could you repeat the Ghosananda quote about edging towards joy?
Yes, I can, but I have to find it. I should have this one memorized. It's easy. If we cannot be happy in spite of our difficulties, what is the good of our spiritual practice?
There was another one, though, that was about edging towards joy.
That was Analayo who said that the Buddha Buddhism is a constant progression towards joy. The whole of the Buddha's path can be seen as a progressive refinement of joy. Is that the one you were thinking of?
Yes. Progressive.
Yeah, we talk about suffering a lot, and that's the first noble truth. So we should be, and I like to define suffering as unreliability, because that includes impermanence, and that also speaks to people that think, well, I'm not suffering. I don't have a terrible life, but you have an unreliable life. We don't know if the electricity is going to be working tomorrow night. Yeah. I'll end with this, another quote. This one I can remember from Joseph Goldstein. His motto is, anything can happen anytime. So who knows? This might be my last talk at GBF. But I'm happy to have offered it. So, thank you.
Thank you for the talk. And I carry away your encouragement that peace is available now.
Yep.
I like that. Are there any announcements from the group? Do we have a host, perhaps? No host today.
No host.
Oh.
Well, as chance would have it, I brought some chocolatey treats that I didn't want to keep in my house. So they're on the table instead of in my belly.
Well, thank you, Tom. And so we're not bereft of a snack then. So please join us afterward and spend a little social time together. Any other announcements? Richard?
Well, I just want to give our spiels and stuff. But you're welcome to stay and enjoy the company of the Sangha. There's hot water for tea. If you use a cup, just leave it in the sink. There'll be a dana bowl out there, and we ask for donations. Between $10 and $20 is great. And it's to pay the rent on this space. Dana for our speakers. We publish a newsletter that goes out mostly to people who are incarcerated. We've resumed the Locken Street dinner, though last night when I showed up to do it, there was no electricity, so we're doing it today. No end of drama there. And then also we use money to help put our retreats on, offer scholarships. So anything you would care to donate would be appreciated. Some people go out to lunch afterwards. They usually meet by the door. And feel free to invite someone to join you if that's what you're doing. Have a nice day.
Thank you, Richard. David, would you like to lead the dedication of merit?
Sure, I'd be happy to.
Great. Let us circle up.
Hold me up. I really like your sweater. Just acknowledging each other and the value of our practice together that benefits not just us, but all beings everywhere. In the same way that we want peace and ease and freedom from suffering for ourselves, that's what we wish for all beings. May all beings be safe from danger and harm. May they be healthy in body and mind. May they live with peace and ease and be free of suffering. May it be so.
I think his name is Ernie, who was talking about attachment. Attachment's not good. But he also mentioned acceptance. And I wonder if attachment and acceptance can border on each other and can be blurred. Attachment isn't good. What's happening that you were attached to that's not good? Is that better?
No, it's more like acceptance is almost always good. Acceptance of the way things are. But attachment is problematic because you think we get attached to something in the present moment, and then we don't accept the next moment. For instance, we get attached to our youth. Like we're attached to being young and handsome and healthy. And when that goes away, life's a bummer.
Thank you for listening to the Gay Buddhist Forum. If you would like to hear several new talks per month and be notified of upcoming speakers so you can participate live, please subscribe to this podcast, like us on Facebook, and join our mailing list by visiting gaybuddhist.org.